It's drum corps audition season, the most magical time of the year. Some of you might be interested in auditioning, but maybe you're not sure if you want to. Some of you might be seasoned veterans that know exactly what you're doing, and the rest of you probably don't want to audition, but you like listening to the sound of my voice. Well, whatever the case, you get to hear my top 10 tips for DCI auditions. What's wrong? Are you too chicken to audition? Yeah, don't be like him, okay? Have some guts and courage and just get out there and do the thing. Yeah, talking from first-hand perspective here, it's totally worth going. Even if you have no idea what you're doing or what to expect, definitely do it, okay? I did a whole video about my first drum corps experience, and it went kind of awful, but I am really glad that I went and did it. Or else I might not have turned into the person that I am today. You are definitely going to learn a whole lot of stuff from a drum corps camp, in terms of, actually how the camp works and operates, but also, getting better at your instrument. That's what's most important. And honestly, the worst that could happen is you'll get cut. It won't get worse than that. They'll just tell you that you're cut. And as someone that's been cut like 1,000 times from all these different places, it's not that bad. You'll be all right. Well, after you get the guts to actually go audition, you need to figure out where you're going to audition. And it can depend a lot on, how much money you have to spend. Because, yeah, DCI, it's getting pretty expensive. It costs money to do the thing. So you want to choose your corps wisely in order to budget properly. Now, if you got tons of money to spare, then yeah, go out and audition at your dream drum corps. Go fly all the way across the country to Blue Devils or Boston or whatever corps you want to try out at, and you'll have a great time. But for those of you who don't have any marching experience, you are probably going to get cut from those high top placing world-class corps, so for budgeting purposes it might be better to just find a local drum corps. Here is a list of all the drum corps. There's a bunch of open class, a bunch of all-age class, some sound sport. If you've never marched before, then it's very, very tough to just get into one of the world-class corps without any experience, unless you're in one of the best marching bands in the country or marched WGI groups. Now for the 30 whatever percent of people that are not in the United States watching this video, I don't really know what to tell you. There aren't very many options out there. It's going to be very, very expensive for you to fly and move into the United States, but people do that. It is a thing that happens. This one is probably the most obvious one on the list, but just so it's said, you need to prepare the crap out of all the material, alright? Don't go in not knowing what to play. You are going to get a packet of warm-up music sent to you after you register for the camp, and you definitely want to prepare all this stuff at all possible tempos, most likely memorize, that'll be a good thing, and you want to do it while marking time, moving your feet to all the stuff. Because when you get to the camp and start playing this stuff, you're going to be a little bit nervous, alright? I'm not going to lie. So you want to make sure that you are as prepared as possible so that the nerves don't really affect what you're doing, especially when you get into the individual audition, right? You'll probably have to go into a room and play for the staff all by yourself. So you're going to want to make sure you're comfortable with all the music so that you can get through it with a high level of proficiency. This one might be the best thing you can possibly do to prepare for a camp, right? You want to take private lessons with somebody who either teaches the drum corps you're trying out for or has marched or currently marches for in that group. It could be a good idea to reach out to the drum corps through email and ask if their tech does lessons, or just, stalk them down yourselves on social media. It's pretty easy to find people nowadays. Or if you can find a veteran that is currently marching in the drum corps, you can get together with that person and practice and go over all the stuff. Because each drum corps has their kind of own separate, technique, philosophy, and all that good stuff. So depending on how you're taught in high school, it might be very different than what you are trying to do at the drum corps. So it'll be a good idea to get your hands moving in the way that the drum corps wants you to do that. And private lessons are the best way to figure that out. You also want to show up prepared with the stuff, the items that you need in order to be successful at your drum corps audition. That includes drumsticks, a practice pad, a drum if you have one, if you're able to borrow one from your school, that's a good idea, a stand for the drum and maybe another one for the pad, definitely the packet with the music in it, and possibly a music stand, depending on where the group is doing the rehearsal. You should also bring a pencil for taking notes, and also it would be a good idea to bring a binder with sheet protectors to put your music in. That takes care of all the music stuff you need, but there's other stuff, such as clothes. You're gonna be there for a few days, a sleeping bag or air mattress with a pillow, toiletries, and a towel for your shower. And please shower when you're at these audition camps. It's usually like 2 or 3 days long. I remember my first drum corps camp, I was too scared to get naked and go in the shower with everyone, so I was just a nasty creature and didn't shower the whole time I was there. But don't be weird like me, okay? Just go and shower in the place, okay? Everybody's doing it, all right? You're gonna see everybody naked. It's part of drum corps. It's what it is. Being a good student goes a long way with the instructional staff, and it's honestly pretty easy to be a good student. All you have to do is, do your best to make adjustments to the comments that you're getting, all right? You'll most likely get a lot of comments about technical stuff and philosophies, and you want to try to make adjustments as much as you can. It could also be a good idea to ask some questions here and there to clarify some information if it's not really making sense to you. Just make sure you don't ask too many questions, because that'll slow down the pace of rehearsal and it might be a little bit annoying. And the worst thing you can possibly do as a student is make excuses of why you weren't doing the thing or why you made a mistake, all right? Don't make any excuses, just say okay or I got it, make the correction, and move on with your life. That is seriously the most annoying thing as a teacher, when a kid just makes excuses all the time. Don't do that. And of course, be eager to be there and play and march on the instruments, right? You'll probably be in a room where there's a bunch of pads set up and there's some drums, and if they ask someone to go on a drum, run down there and be on the drum. You want to be seen and evaluated as much as possible. Or if you're marching in the basics block, you want to try to have the drum on as much as you can. Making new friends at drum corps is surprisingly easy, okay? Everybody is very nice in drum corps auditions, all right? The vets are always open and willing to help you out and answer questions. So it's definitely a good idea to try to hang out with your section as much as possible. Like when you go on lunch breaks or, at the end of the day, just, kind of tag along with the vets in the section. What you don't want to do is just isolate by yourself. Like if you eat alone or just set up your sleeping bag in the corner, you want to try to be as social as you can. I know that can be tough for some people, but well, if you're gonna march with these people all summer, you might as well try to become friends with them as soon as possible. Because the section vibe, it's very, very important, right? And it can be the difference of making a line or not making a line. I've seen times where the instructors, they ask the section leaders, oh, what do you think of this guy? And you want the section leader to be like, yeah, that guy's, pretty cool, I like him. You don't want him to be like, oh man, that dude is super weird, he eats all alone and doesn't shower with anybody. Yeah, the guy's a total creep. Some of you newbies may not know what to expect at all. I know I had no idea what to expect when I went to my first drum corps camp. Like I said before, if you go to one of the best drum lines and you've never marched in a drum corps, you're probably gonna get cut. Whereas if you go to an open class corps or all age or sound sport, it is more likely you'll get in, but you might still get cut. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it here, okay? It happens a lot. People get cut. It's the way of the world. Now, I've been in a lot of really awkward situations as a staff member when I had to cut people. I've had, kids cry in front of me and kids get angry and all this stuff. I'm not saying you can't have emotions, but you gotta have some reasonable expectations going into this if you're gonna make it or not. You're there for the experience, you wanna learn, you wanna do great things, and hopefully you'll make it in. So you got cut, did you? A lot of people get cut, but don't worry, it's not the end of the world, all right? I got cut 1,000 times, and I'm still here doing great things. You can always try out for another drum corps, kind of depending on location. If there's another corps in your area, it might be worth going to that one. WGI could also be a good option to get some more experience, so you get into the line next time if there's no other drum corps you can march. Or like I said earlier, you can take some more lessons and hire a private teacher, so you really get to know your stuff a little bit better. Now, another thing that happens to a lot of people, it's happened to me, is if you get called back a few times, keep getting called back, but you don't get a spot in the line, I would recommend asking if you're gonna get cut or not at that point. This is where we get into kind of the unintentional scamming of drum corps, just the nature of how these auditions work. If you're in the bottom percentile of people, you'll get cut right away. If you're in the very top percent, or maybe if you're a vet coming back, you'll get a contract right away. And then there's this group of us in the middle that are are like right on the line of maybe can make it, might get cut. And sometimes those people just like kind of get straggled along for like several months and go to all these auditions and yeah, they never find out if they're gonna make it or not until it's way too late. Yeah, that happened to me in my second year trying out for Cadence, RIP. I just kept getting called back over and over and over and like didn't ever get a spot in the line until it was like March, until I finally asked the instructors like, yeah, am I getting cut or am I making this line or not? And that's when they told me that I was like one position out of getting in. Like they wanted 5 tenor drummers and I was like number 6 on the list. So I never actually got cut. I just like stopped going because I wanted to make sure I had a spot to march that year. And luckily Jersey Surf, which was near me, they had a tenor spot open. So I went and marched there. I could have got screwed out of marching completely though. Like if no other corps had a spot open that late into the season, yeah, it sucks and it happens, but yeah, hopefully it won't happen to you. Having fun is not mandatory, but you're gonna enjoy yourself better if you do have some fun. It can be a bit of a stressful time at these audition camps, right? You wanna, play all this stuff perfectly, you want a spot, you wanna impress all the staff members, but, try to keep in mind why you're there, right? It's for the love of the arts, performing on your instrument, performing with others, having a great time, and having fun. That's why you do this, is because it's fun. And hopefully that's why you do this. So try your best to make an effort to just kind of, take in the experience as it's happening. Have a good time, enjoy yourself, and enjoy what's going on.